Welcome to the Big BoneYard. Enter at your own risk.
I decided to pursue a career in law because it gives me an opportunity to help people. When a client chooses us to represent them, they're entrusting us with a huge responsibility. It's our goal to exceed their expectations with our personalized service and to help them to achieve the best possible recovery to compensate them for their injuries.
That's where we come in. We come in and we solve that problem for them and really set them on the right track in order to try and get back to what their life was like before the accident happened.
Hey, what's up, man?
So,
I thought the mute button was working bad or something. Hey, everybody, thank y'all for joining us tonight, late tonight on the Big BoneYard. It's been one of them weekends. I've been running. A lot of cool stuff I'll tell y'all about in a second. But hey, welcome to the Big BoneYard, y'all. You got myself, doggone Big Bone 1%er. And I'm glad to be here, man. I got some stuff to tell y'all for real. And as per freaking always, guess who we got? We got my man Tate from A-Bait. A-Bait Tate, what's up, man?
same old different day, just trying to live the life.
Right on. And I see we got Cigar Box Skinny. I see Glitter over here. Thank y'all for sliding on through. Thank you for riding on through. Like riding, not sliding, but you're not sliding, you're riding through. Big BoneYard tonight, Cigar Box Skinny. Dagon from let me say it right. Holy Ghost Riders. I knew that. And the Arkansas COC. Thank you for being here. And Glitter, one of my favorite folks. She makes some wonderful, fine products. If you need something cool, like a cool t-shirt, koozies, hats, or just invent something, I'll bet you Glitter knows how to make it. And she can make it and it'll be cooler than anything else. One Chain, what's up, my people? Hey, but yeah, so let me go and get this out of the way right quick. See, here's the deal, Tate. Sometimes we say stuff and people try to say, hey, didn't your club say such and such? Right? They say that. But look, but what we're talking about is our disclaimer. Could you help us with it, sir?
So, I mean, like you said, sometimes people say stuff or we be out at events and we get that nudge from the attorney going, hey, you can't say that. So, any comments or statements made here on the Big BoneYard podcast are those of mine and Big Bone 1%er and ours only or our guests. They do not represent any comments or ideas from our specific clubs and or organizations. Therefore, if what we say pees you off, be mad at us. Don't be mad at our clubs.
Right. These are our opinions only. They don't reflect the clubs or organizations is what we're trying to say. But yeah, so I'm going to catch y'all up to speed. And I argued with myself about even sharing this thing. But yeah, it's Glitter Graphics. Glitter Graphics. She's in the Tampa Bay area. So wherever you are, you can find her on Facebook. In fact, I'm going to try to I'll go to Facebook and Glitter. I'll get some of your contact info or something like that, and I'll put it up, and maybe we make a flyer or something just so folks know how to get a hold of you and can see some of your products and stuff. But she makes a lot of the stuff for the COC for West Florida Confederation of Clubs. I wish I was wearing my shirt. I think I wore it last week. My WFL COC shirt's very cool. But so I'll tell you a little story. So we were we did Incom last weekend, which was absolutely freaking fantastic. Is when I go to Incom every year, obviously. Incom is the national coalition of motorcyclists. There's the big convention every year. It was in Ohio this year. It was absolutely freaking lit. It was definitely good. And what's that? I don't know who that is, but it's somebody talking trash. Somebody up to something. I don't know what they're doing. But anyway, hold on, let me get rid of that person. Bam, there we go. Somebody was talking crazy. But anyway, was up in Ohio. It was very cool for Incom. Came back from Incom, and when I got back, the night, just chilling. I'm saying Sunday night, we got back late, chilling, watching TV. My heart started beating like crazy for no reason whatsoever. I wasn't doing a thing. So the next day, I ain't thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, call the doctor about a completely different thing. Doctor said, hey, shoot by the ER. We'll hook you up with some meds. I said, okay, no problem. This is not a big deal. I stopped. I'm thinking I'll dash in, dash out, 20, 30 minutes, like McDonald's, right? I get there, and you know how they always make you take the thermometer and when they're checking it. Well,
Yeah.
I forgot what they call that.
You do all your
when
vitals.
They're checking in with what do you call it?
They're doing your vitals.
Yeah, right. The vitals. They're doing the vitals and that whole thing. And the lady's like, she goes, oh, I did that wrong. Let me do it again. What are you talking about? Oh, she takes off the blood pressure cuff. Oh, I did it wrong. She puts it back on. She goes, hey, were you running when you got here? I said, no, I walked in. Why? Feeling great. Everything's fine. She goes, ooh, oh dear. No, excuse me. She says, oh my. You don't want to hear that from a nurse when she's looking at computer screens. She goes, oh my. I go, hey, what's going on? She goes, hey, just relax. Just relax. And I'm like, I'm relaxed, or at least I was. Well, what do you?
I was relaxing until you said something.
Said, oh, just relax. I'm like, okay, I'm relaxed. Then she goes, Larry. She's giving some guy to get over here. So some doctor, hi, Cheryl, what's going on? Da 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 da. And she goes, Larry, and he looks at the little computer screen and he goes, oh dear. I'm like, whoa, what the hell? What do you mean? Oh dear, oh my, oh dear. What the hell's going on here? So the ladies, so they call over 2-3 other people, and they come over. And when they look over, and I say, hey, what's going on? And the guy says, just relax. And the lady says, hey, just relax. You okay? You relaxing? I'm like, yeah, I'm relaxed. Y'all freaking me the hell out. Keep asking me to relax. So nurse lady says, come over here, lay down. I'm like, oh, sit down there. She goes, no, lay down now. I'm like, oh, damn. So I lay down, rip the shirt open. They start with the things. Anyway, long story short, they zip me off, take me to a room. Turns out I was having a heart episode, and I'm healthy. I got, no cholesterol issues, no bad blood pressure, no diabetes, none of that. I'm like relatively healthy, but my heart was going crazy. Or so they said. I didn't feel nothing except for that night before for a little bit, thought it was weird. It stopped after a few minutes. But anyway, so they said my heart was racing so hard, so fast for so long that it could make you have a heart attack. I'm like, what the, I didn't know. And they said because of the improper rhythm, which is weird because I'm Black and Latino. I got plenty of rhythm, so I thought. But anyway, the wrong rhythm of the heart could, because blood was pooling, it'll make a blood clot go in my brain and I'll stroke out. I'm like, what the? Anyway, so I end up being in the hospital for like 2 days. I just went to the ER on a humbug. I was feeling fine, but a lot of folks knew about it. I didn't tell the whole world, but for those folks that knew about it, they reached out. I appreciate the love that y'all showed, and seems like your boy's going to be all right. But, so they gave me some medicine and everything like that. It ought to be cool. But Incom was fantastic. And I really do want to do a bit of a follow-up show so we can really delve into a lot of the stuff that was covered in Incom, a lot of stuff that we did, which we had a COC meeting today where we did just that. We got all up in the stuff that happened in Incom. One of the things that we were talking about at Incom was participation, like individually, like in your club, in the organization that you find yourself in. Because at the Proc, we had, well over 6,000 people at this year's Proc. this year's income didn't get close to 1,000. You know, so we're like, whoa, you know, we need some. It was a really good income, but it wasn't this super huge, massive group like it is ordinarily. So it got us to talking about participation. What, if anything, do you need to do to get people plugged in, and you know that basically that sort of thing. So to give you an idea, if I can find it again, where'd it go? So here's what we talked about. For matter of fact, do you have that? You got the description for tonight?
Yeah.
Give it to us, my man.
I remember the first time you saw a motorcycle club. Be honest, you thought they looked so freaking cool, right? Maybe it was watching them pull up to the bike night and all the girls were checking them out. Then there was the other time where you saw them on the highway riding side by side at 90 miles per hour in perfect formations as your girl watched from the driver's seat of the car that she's driving, you both as she fantasizes about riding on the back seat of one of those Harleys. Now it's 5 years later. You're a full patch member. And you barely shown up for church, let alone those cool-ass rides that made you want to join in the first place. What happened to that guy? Why don't you show up anymore? Let's find out on an episode of the Big BoneYard.
Okay. So, yeah. What happened to that guy? When I guess if you think about it, I guess the question that that I really wanted to ask some folks is just that, like, what, if anything, made you the first time you, I mean, with me, it was the first time that I'll be honest, it was the first time I saw Outkast, and they were so freaking cool. The way that they were hanging out, the way they rolled up and parked the bikes and was hanging out, and a bunch of girls went over and they had on these dusters and all that. Man, I thought, man, this must be like a rock band or something, or maybe a group of rappers or something, because this was back in the day. I'm like, they were so damn cool. I just knew this was somebody I was going to see on MTV later that day, right? And when I found out it was a motorcycle club, boom, it just went in my head. I'm like, man, that's very cool. That was the long and the short of it. I just thought that was cool. And then a number of years later, when I'm on the set in my very first motorcycle club, some interesting stuff popped off, which I'm not good. I'll touch on a little bit. So there was an issue between these two clubs, and one of the clubs was an Outkast support club, and there was this other club, and it was a lot of these guys, and I saw three of my bros rode up to this thing, walked through the crowd. The crowd parted like the Red Sea, and they came and they spoke to the antagonist in that situation. And I'm watching these, just three. It must have been, I'm not exaggerating, there must have been 50 or 60 guys from that other club. I'm watching this one dude from Outkast, and he is giving this dude the business, telling him what he's not going to do ever again as it relates to any of their support club folks. And all 60 of these dudes look like, uh-oh. And I did it's literally only three of them. You would have thought that the 7th Cavalry just rolled in there, the way that everybody was, oh my gosh, oh, please, Lord, don't let, I'm like, whoa, what the, I'm like, I can't lie, I was impressed. So twice now, the same club, I'm like, these guys got so much swag, they look cool as all get out. I need to find out about that. That's what it was for me, as far as coming here. But the whole motorcycle club thing, it was all a part of that. It was like, it's like, hey, these guys are having fun. They're doing really cool stuff. They're, they get to ride these cool motorcycles. Girls, I can't lie. There's always girls around, and like the girls 9 times out of 10 are like way hot. And I'm like, man, I wanted to be a part of that. I wanted to be a part of that community. I was in the Marine Corps, so I'm a joiner. And the more I learned about how the set worked and how motorcycle clubs work and stuff like that, man, I needed to be a part of it. And actually, my very first motorcycle club, I got in for all the wrong reasons, which was I was nosy. I was told that we can't find out what's going on in a certain part of a certain place because that was for motorcycle clubs only. And after hearing that like the third time, I'm like, well, shit, let's start a motorcycle club so I can find out what the heck's going on over there. And so that was the first motorcycle club. Now, years later, when it got real, anyway, so that's my thing. And everybody's got a thing. And I actually want to hear everybody's thing. So like, what was your thing? Like, what was the first thing that got you wanting to get involved with the whole motorcycle thing?
Well, you know, my dad's had bikes, my grandparents have had bikes growing up and stuff. So I've always been around bikes. Now, the club scene, that's a completely different thing because I was already riding once I stepped into kind of hanging around clubs and stuff. And I hung around clubs in Lake County being a president. I mean, I was around clubs all the time. The first time I was actually like, I want to be in a club, no lie, it was the feeling I felt from your nation when I went to your birthday party in Tampa.
I remember that.
And just the fact that your nation has always welcomed me with open arms. Now, I understand that I can never be an outcast.
Yeah.
But I can be the next best thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Facts. Absolutely.
And honestly, it was the feeling I got from your nation anytime I've been around them, whether it been at your house, whether it been at NCOM last year.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it been at Proc, it don't matter. Anytime I've been around the Outcast Nation, even your brothers up here where I'm at, I mean, they all treat me with respect. And that's a feeling I don't get from a lot of other nations. Even nations on my side of the fence don't treat me like that. So
I feel you.
It's definitely been an Outcast thing that's driven me to want to be in a club.
Shit, that's what's up. I'll tell you what. One of the things that, and this goes back to tonight's episode, I remember how, not just me, but I remember guys I remember how they were when they first joined their club, right? And they were gung-ho, ready to go. They didn't miss nothing. They showed up for every ride, every event, every bike night, every annual, everything, right? And then you see that same guy a few years later, sometimes a year later, and you're like, man, where have you been? Oh, well, something's going on. He don't do nothing. The club's doing a thing. You don't see him, So I'm always wondering what happened. And I know some of it. What happened from that time when you first got in and you were, on the set, pounding around, doing it all, to that time when everybody's going, well, where's so-and-so? We haven't seen him in a minute, right? So, and the question always is, A, what happened to that guy? And then B, what, if anything, do you need to do in your club to get people to plug the hell in, to like start doing stuff, like just to show the heck up, but then also, how do you get somebody to re-engage with your club? Now, I guess the question would be, like, is it the club's messed up, or is that individual just a shitty bro?
I'd say it depends. He could be a shitty bro. He could be a really solid bro, and the nation he's with just isn't the nation for him.
Yeah, or maybe, you can't always. Well, I mean, that could
maybe
be
not a nation, but that chapter.
Sometimes a chapter, because I've seen in different clubs where you go to 3 different chapters. And one of those chapters, man, is firing on all 8 cylinders. I mean, they got the best everything, the greatest attitude. They're the MC community around them is tight. You go to their clubhouse, the place is packed, and everybody wants to be there and be around them. Why? Because they're doing stuff like they're supposed to be doing stuff. Then you got other chapters. It'll be in the same nation. You have another chapter, and nobody wants to deal with them. They've got a bad reputation. There's always some BS going on. And, so that kind of stuff can turn somebody off. You might not want to be around that, but then you got to say, hey, wait a minute. Didn't you sign up for this? Didn't you sign up for it? So while we're talking about it, if anybody's got any thoughts or opinions on the subject, we definitely want to hear from you. I'm curious as to what goes on with Skinny, like what goes through his head, because Skinny is everywhere all around the country.
Oh my God. dude.
I mean, I'm rarely going to a thing.
I think we need to start calling him
Skinny's there
Carmen
before we are.
Sandiego.
So what happened?
That's Carmen Sandiego. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego?
Yeah, right.
Where's
So
Waldo?
I want to know, how is it that Skinny shows up for everything and doesn't get? I mean, because he's got other brothers, right? He's got a nation.
He's got a whole nation behind him.
Yeah, but who do we see? Skinny.
Skinny.
Tell me everywhere.
Illinois.
He's in Illinois tonight.
He's like, I dream of Genie.
He's in Illinois tonight. I know, right? He's got a hot foot, man. Skinny's gonna, and he'll drive his truck and he'll throw the bike in the truck, go drive the truck somewhere just so he can get out and get on the bike, go ride the bike somewhere different.
Or be like, how'd you get here? I flew in. Where are you flying out to? I don't know yet. They haven't called me. I'm sure they'll let me know by the time I leave this convention. Damn, right. It's Skinny.
So, I'll tell you like this. So let's do it by the numbers. So the first guy who gets in the club, he's shit hot, can't get enough of it, showing up for everything. He's Johnny on the spot guy on day one. On day 365 or day 800 or day 1000, maybe not so much. Let's say, for argument's sake, that it's not the club. The club is good, but he's gotten comfortable. Everything, it's not the shiny new penny no more. So that's a dude that makes you wonder. I'll tell you what my opinion is when you see a guy who gets in the club and then just turns into a shitty bro. In my opinion, one of the things that makes that happen is he didn't probate the right way, or his club dropped the ball, because when you're a probate, what are you doing when you're a probate? You're getting them calls at 3 a.m. To go bring somebody a pack of cigarettes or a damn lighter. But then you're getting those calls where something's really important going on and you got to clock in. You get in the habit of answering your phone and showing up for your brothers, right? That's what you do when you're a probate. You're supposed to be learning that that's an important aspect. You're learning while you're a probate. What's the number one most important thing? Showing up, right? And then when you're a bro, you don't even got to get the call. You show up because that's what you're supposed to do. That's what you wanted to do when you joined the club. You wanted to be with your brothers and doing stuff with your brothers. Now that you got the patch, you don't want to do it no more. So that means that either A, he slipped through the cracks, because somebody was supposed to figure out if he was that kind of guy. That's what the probate period is for. You're supposed to figure that out while he's a probate. So somebody, I always go back to that. If you didn't probate right, or your club didn't, like they just, he's okay, let's let him slip on through, without doing all the right stuff. Okay. Ultimately, it's the club's fault, in my humble opinion. But, now that's one way. The other way is, let's say he probated and did everything the right way, right? But then turns out his club, let's just say that his chapter is a shitty chapter. He don't want to be around that. He might want to ride motorcycles, but maybe he don't want to be around his club or his chapter because, they ain't about shit. So what does that guy do? Oh, hold on. No, go ahead. I'm listening.
The first guy, let's say he makes it through probating and everything. And maybe he did probate the right way, but maybe nobody explained to him that probating is not the application process. Probating is not the interview. The interview don't start until that cut's on your back.
That part.
I mean, he's like, all right, cool. I got the job. Now I get to sit back in my nice big loungy chair and nah, bro. Right. You got that cut on your back. Now it's time to put it.
That's when it starts.
Now is when it starts. Now's when it means something.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because if you think about it, and that's a good point. So I've said this to so many people, but it's true. While you're a probate, it's an interesting. So the most important time is probably not even that prospect period. It's probably the hang around time, because when you're a hang around, you can say what you want to say. You can be relaxed, learn how all the bros are. They can learn how you are. you're getting a really good picture of how everybody is, and they're getting a really good idea who you are, you know? And that's why you shouldn't rush that period. I know guys that have been hangarounds. I mean, like actual hangarounds for 2, 3, and one guy even 7 years he was a hangaround. I mean, an active, showing up all the time, hangaround. He was for 7 years. And of course, after 7 years, if you don't know who a guy is, then And in the case of him, he was an excellent hang around, but he wasn't ready to to put the patch on because he felt like it required a level of. And he's from a different club, but he felt like the dedication that he would need, he didn't have it. So, but once he felt like, yes, I got it. There's no kids in the house. I'm retired from my job, and I'm everything's paid for, and I got all the time in the world. And he was just one of them kind of dudes. But once he had the time, boom, he went ahead, uh, got patched, was a probate, did great as a probate, got his patch, and died within 8 months. So he died with the patch on that he wanted. It just took him a long time to decide to get it, I guess. But the thing is, so that hang around period super important, because when you're a probate, you can't really talk like you want to talk and do how you want to do and all, like, you know what I mean? It's a different thing. The probate period is where you're learning some stuff, but you're showing your dedication to the club.
You're working.
Yeah, you're working, and you're learning some stuff. You should be. That's the time when you're learning as much as you can, but you're not doing a whole lot of talking and communicating and kicking back, chilling. I mean,
Some
not
clubs you ain't
in a real
doing
club.
no
You ain't just buddy, ha ha ha, key while you're a probate. You ain't doing none of that. And if you are, then that club is a little. It's different types of clubs. If it's a mom and pop club, who cares, right? But like you said, when you put that patch on, that's when it's time to show up, because now nobody has to tell you when to show up. You know what time it is. You find that out in church or on the group text or whatever. And if for whatever reason you ain't showing up and everything's cool with the club, then that's on you. Now the question is, if your club, for whatever reason lets you keep that patch and that's the way you're moving, and the club is solid and everything around it is solid, and you're the one that's dropping the ball, maybe a conversation needs to be had. So Ray's Bikes was just saying, let's see, he said, waiting to hear back from my RC state rep about reaching out to the one percenters. They're cool with them and gonna reach out that way. Okay, right on. Well, good luck to you. Good luck to you. But so what about these guys who have been around for a long time and just says, I'm over it? Is there such a thing as being burnt out?
I would say there is such a thing as being burnt out, but also, and this is just from my personal perspective, what if, I joined the Walmart Riders.
Yeah. Love them guys.
I get patched, and they don't want to do anything. They don't cross, they don't travel unless there's a funeral in state. They don't cross state lines unless it's a regional that they got to go to.
Right.
I mean, they don't want to do a bike night because it costs too much money and they ain't got the hands to do it. They don't have, they just have no motivation, but they got 5 guys. That's it. They're trying to grow. At that point, what do you do to get the old guys inspired to fucking get up and do something?
Right.
Because, I mean, you can have all these new guys coming in you want, but if the old guys aren't paving the path, these new guys are lost just trying to freaking find a sidewalk to follow. There's no path.
Right. Now, hey, I'll tell you. So my cousin, she's a female. My girl cousin, her name's Tsunami. She's up in Virginia, and she was with a club called. Well, I won't say the name of the club. But she was with a co-ed club. They had like a a guy version and a girl version at this club, and this club, for some reason, not I'm gonna say they're called True Riders, and just because my cousin's in the club, I can say, but True Riders, and she hit me up one day. She, like I said, she lives in Virginia, and she says, "Hey," she goes, "You got brothers up here, right?" I said, "Yeah." She goes, "Ask them if they wouldn't mind if I started hanging around a little bit." I said, "Well, you're a woman, so you can't hang around." I said, "We're not a co-ed club or something like that." I said, "We're a dominant club." She goes, "No, no, no." She goes, "I don't mean to like join, but," she goes, "Man, I just want to ride." I said, "You're in a club. What do you mean you just want to ride?" And she's like, My club doesn't ride. They don't really do anything." She goes, "Maybe once or every week or every other week, we'll get together. We'll ride 5 or 10 minutes to the wing house. We'll have some wings, eat some wings and drink some beers and stuff, and then we'll do it again in another week or two, and that's it." I'm like, "Yeah, but what do y'all do? What about church? What about this?" She goes, "Nope, nope, 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 and nope." I was like, "What the hell?" So, and this was some years back, and I didn't know no damn better. So what I did, I should point out, my cousin is freaking gorgeous. I mean, she's like Instagram hot girl, summer hot. Like, she's gorgeous. That's my cousin Tsunami, aka Nikki. And so my intelligent self, I made a post. We had like a group chat, and I said, "Hey, my cousin," I said, "Hey, any brothers up in Virginia? My cousin wants to kind of hang out a little bit." I explained the situation. You gave a little brief. "Hey, here's what's going on with it, da 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 da." And some guy said, because you know how when you're texting, somebody said, "Oh, uh, who is she? I might know her. What does she look like?" So my dumbass posted her picture. When I tell you, my phone started ringing off the hook. I mean, brothers from all over everywhere. I'm like, "Oh man, what did I do that for?" Now all of a sudden, everybody's like, "Hey, she can be my property. I need a new PO, and tell her, I'm single." I'm like, "Dude, she's not trying to get a date." Nobody was trying to hear that.
She just wants somebody to hang out with.
Yeah,
Damn.
yeah. And it got a little overwhelming. Um, and so ironically enough, she ended up leaving her club. She got with well, it's like Rough Riders or something like that. She ended up joining. So she actually did get with a club that actually does ride motorcycles. And and I think True Riders is probably doing all right and everything up there. But the thing is that because you got to remember, some people get in motorcycle clubs because they like motorcycles. That's crazy. That's a crazy thought, isn't it?
I
People
mean,
want to
that's
ride
one of the main
motorcycles.
parts of the word there.
What now?
That's one of the main parts of the word there. I mean,
Yeah, right. And I'm like, man,
motorcycle club.
right, right. You want to ride motorcycles, or at least that's like the core idea behind the motorcycle club, the central theme of it and all
But,
like that.
but here's a
But
question for you. You've been around a minute. I
yeah,
mean, you've almost made lifer with your current club, and you were with your former club for a number of years before
yeah,
that. I'm sure you rode before them.
yeah.
How has the motorcycle community participation within the motorcycle community changed from when you first started riding until now?
Man, great question. I'll tell you what, as it pertains to tonight's topic, I'll tell you. So in my first club, and I'm going back a lot of years, but my very first club, we were absolutely inseparable. We used to use the expression incestuous, and what I mean by that is, if you saw one of us with another person, that was somebody from the club. If you saw somebody with some guy, you seen him with a girl, that girl was either one of the old ladies, a friend of one of the old ladies, somebody who's getting ready to become a property. It was We only dealt with each other. We only uh, dated within people that we knew, from the set, from the immediate set. If somebody got introduced, like somebody, let's say one of the old ladies or one of the girls that was hanging out with us or whatever, if she wanted to bring a guy around, she had to really know something about this guy. It couldn't be just some run of the mill type dude. This had to have been something a bit more serious, because when she brought him around, we was going to give him the business and make sure that he is who he says he is and all this kind of stuff, and explain to him how things ain't going to go his way if she comes home with a black eye or crying or any of this kind of stuff. It was some real big brother type stuff, but we were always dealing with each other. If one of us had a problem, we all had the same problem. We watched out for each other super duper heavy all the time. And our club was not unique in that fashion. That was just the way the motorcycle clubs were. Everybody was extremely tight. It was legitimately a brotherhood and a sisterhood, if you want to be technical about it. And most motorcycle clubs back then, that's what was up. That's how everybody was. If you were in a club, that was your family. And back then, so nowadays you see these club hoppers, right? You'll see somebody who's in a club in January, and by October, November, they've gone to a whole other club, sometimes already got rags on for the new club. And I'm like, once upon a time, protocol says that's impossible mathematically to do that. But nowadays you see that. Whereas before, the idea of leaving your club, either because you got put out bad or because, this just ain't the place for me type stuff. Well, figuring out it's not the place for you, that's supposed to happen like while you're hanging around and while you're a probate, because by the time you go through all of what you should be going through in order to put that patch on in the first place, you should damn well know that this is where you want to be. And there's none of this, there's this one guy, they call him Big Cell, and Big Cell, I think at last count had been in, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
He had been in like, in 6 years, he had been in like 5 different clubs, didn't make it in near one of the clubs. I think he actually got a full patch in one of them, and then he started an online club, But anyway, but the thing I'm getting at is that the difference was the extreme, and I say extreme, this was brotherhood on steroids. That's the way it was. And clubs there wasn't a whole lot of club hopping or any of that kind of stuff. Whereas nowadays, people are real laissez-faire, real laid back about the way that they probate, real relaxed about the way that they think or even talk about their clubs. So it's some difference. But I mean, I'm not saying that's everybody, but I'm saying that those are things that I see now that just wasn't a thing back in the day. One chain said, "My Buffalo Soldier Nation always shows up." Yes, y'all do.
Oh yeah.
What? Man, don't play. Buffalo Soldiers, man, for real, for real. So one chain says, "My Buffalo Soldiers Nation always shows up strong at events. The dedication of my nation and seeing them represent strong in the community and on the set motivates me. Black and gold pride, man. That's what's up. Look, I am not a Buffalo Soldier, but I get residual pride or pride adjacent to Buffalo Soldiers because, man, look, when y'all show up, y'all make everybody look good. You right?
Listen,
remember at the Rock? What?
I thought we was at a damn Buffalo Soldiers annual, and they just invited everybody else for guests. Yeah, right. I'm like, damn.
I'm telling you, look, I'm going to. In fact, I think both of us are going to your annual in July because it's actually being held in Tampa. So I'm definitely going to be there. Looking forward to it. But yeah, I deal with Buffalo Soldiers, man. Big ups to Buffalo Soldiers. So man, you couldn't have said nothing better with that one. But yeah, but that's true though. The way the Buffalo Soldiers, the way that they show up, the way that they represent, the way that you see them, that's what I was talking about a little while ago. Buffalo Soldiers is an excellent example of that. And anybody who's been on the set for more than 5 minutes, they know that. Ray was saying, I joined the club. I did because I really believed in the mission statement and the structure, more the lack thereof, I should say. Yeah, no, I get that. And see, that means something as well, because the way I always call it is every club has a personality. Every club has a identity, and like when you think about, there's this one certain club in Tampa and that club is known as that's the party club. You know, yeah, they do some other stuff, but they're well known for being the club that's if you go to their house, man, for sure, that's a good party. That same club, if they go somewhere else, they're gonna bring the party with them. I'm talking about Rough Riders, right? Rough Riders, they get down like that. Got
They
big
get
love,
down like that
but
everywhere, from what I
you know what I'm saying. But it's like their
understand.
reputation is, hey, that's where the party at. Then you got other clubs that are known to be, hey, they keep to themselves. They show up for what they need to show up for, but they're a tight knit club, and people say, hey, that club right there, they're solid as all get out. They don't start none, won't be none, but don't go messing with them because if you do, they're gonna come out their bag. And that's fine. Some clubs have that personality. Then you got other clubs which are, like you got like a big mammoth powerhouse type of thing, and they're like a corporation. Like that's a corporate entity. Like they stopped being a motorcycle club a long time ago. That's a machine. There's a bunch of them, and they got a way of doing things and a cookie cutter sort of a system, and they do it and it works and everybody's enjoying it, and bam. And that's the identity of that particular club. So there, and the thing is that when it comes to finding the club that's going to work best for you, so you're not club hopping and then you've been in the club for 2 years and ain't nobody seen you in a year and a half. Okay, to avoid that, find that club that's the best fit for you. How do you do that?
Hang
Just
around.
show up. You got to show up. You got to hang around. Exactly. The same thing that you got a problem doing now is the thing you got to do in order to find the club that's going to make you want to feel good about showing up and having a good time. Because, and I think that's the thing, because we talk about so much stuff. Like we talk about the politics and the laws, because like the government's coming at us and the police messing with you. And sometimes clubs have beefs and all this kind of stuff. We talk about all this, not fun stuff. But why would anybody want to deal with all of that? Because it's fun, because you have a lot of fun. You enjoy yourself, and all the reasons that made you want to join a motorcycle club in the first place, those are actual real things that exist. Like, yes, there are girls that you can chase, and there are motorcycles that you can ride, and there's beers that you can drink, all of that.
Oh, yeah.
All of that stuff, right? And it happens, the best clubs, all that happens organically. That's just the vibe. You know what I mean? It's not like they're saying, okay, at 7:25, we're going to drink a beer, and at 7:32, no, you're just going to go, you're going to chill, you're going to have fun.
You walk to the bar.
Yeah, you go cut up with your boys, all that, and it's the kind of thing that really doesn't exist. This MC life, it doesn't exist. And it's hard to find a civilian comparable kind of a experience to it. That's why people are so crazy about it, because this stuff is not cheap. It's not cheap to be a biker.
No,
it costs money and time. It can cost you money, and in a club, it can cost you a relationship and money and
not just that,
your sanity.
Let's not even talk about clubs or any of that. The amount it costs you to put tires on your car, it costs us to put tires on our bike. And we only got 2 of them.
Yeah, exactly. And look, and don't think because you're not in the club, it does. Now clubs are riding like all the time and doing that kind of stuff. So yeah, you're gonna beat that machine a little bit more, but independence. And look, MROs, if you're in a good MRO or good MRO chapter, like ABATE, if you're in a solid ABATE chapter or a solid MRF region or something like that, they got stuff going on. And
actually, who's doing really well in our state right now? And I hate to give anybody credit. Lagoon chapter. Lagoon is building and putting out some solid bike nights. Okay. I mean, for a while there, the only bike nights I was hearing about was coming out of the BoneYard chapter.
Yeah.
Lagoon's got a solid one locked down once a month at the same place. That's Malabar Mo's first Friday of every month for anybody on the West Coast, Melbourne, or the East Coast over in the Melbourne, Cocoa Beach area. But yeah, Steve's
doing when they do it?
There. Huh?
Do you know what night they do it?
I believe it's the first Friday night of the month.
All right. Hey, see if you can find out, because what I'd like to do, so the BoneYard chapter, which I'm the vice president of the BoneYard chapter, which is of ABATE, is Pasco Pinellas, and we have a bike night, and ours is, wait, I'm supposed to notice, ours is the first Wednesday of the, right? Yeah, ours is the first Wednesday of the month. I had to stop and think. And we do, it's a great bike night. We're having a lot of fun with it. Y'all have heard me talk about it here and stuff. But if they've got one, I think it would be kind of cool for all of us over here to pop in on them, show them some love, show them some support, and tell them they stole our idea. But no, I'm kidding. But I'm glad that they're doing it. I think everybody ought to be doing stuff like that. Everywhere ought to be doing stuff.
The next one is going to be June 5th from 6:30 to 9 at Malabar Mo's, and that's 2805 Malabar Road, Malabar, Florida.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, so we got to make sure we put some of that up on social media as well. And so ours for the BoneYard chapter, if you're on the west coast of Florida, it's in Newport Richey, Florida, and the place is called I keep wanting to say Thunder Tavern. It's called the Backyard Tavern. Yeah, the Backyard Tavern. It's in Newport Richey on State Road 54, and it's the first Wednesday of the month, and it's definitely a good time. Fran Hash is the sponsor for that bike night, and it is, we have trophies and 50/50s and raffle baskets and all kinds of stuff. The band is there's always a kick-ass band, but so there's stuff to do. The question now becomes, are you going to do it? Well, if you're in a motorcycle club, if you're in an MRO, if you're not going to do it, then why'd you put that patch on in the first place?
I mean, why'd you buy a motorcycle if it's just going to sit in your garage?
Yeah. Now, I do know some cats that do that. I mean, like, I'm talking like doctors, lawyers, Indian chiefs. They'll buy a motorcycle to have one and go out and, look goofy and ride
like Jay Leno, it once a year.
Yeah, well, they'll ride the thing or they'll trailer it to Daytona, which is only a couple of hours away, but they got to put it on the trailer, be
like me trailing
Airbnb. I'm like, dude, you live an hour and a half, 2 hours away, and you're going through all of that just to let your bike be seen once or twice a year in Daytona. So
you're gonna throw a fit if you get rain on it.
Yeah. It's like they want to cosplay. They're cosplaying being a biker. That's hilarious to me.
Yeah, they show up with their leather vest and their wingtips.
right. Yo, but I tell y'all what, I'm looking forward to, and I still haven't posted not one picture of income or any of that stuff or talked about it, but I'm gonna get some stuff out there because just income was just a kick-ass good, important thing. If you're in a motorcycle club and your club is not involved with your local COC or income, reach out to me, catch me on social media, send me an email or something like that. Let me know so I can point you in the right direction, because you definitely want to be involved. It's for the betterment of your club. It's information, everything from talking about your money to the formation, like the legal stuff, like being a 501c3 or 501c7, legislative stuff, what the laws are happening, anti-profiling. The COCs are involved in all of that, plus having a good ass time, parties and bike nights and rides and all that. So for a full biker experience, get involved with ABATE, get involved with your COC, and get at us if you don't know how to do it. Hold on. Calvin said, diamond clubs are one of the last places you can unapologetically be a man and hang out with men just like you. Hey, thank you, sir. And that's true. It's like we always say that motorcycle clubs, like real motorcycle clubs, are where men are men and women are glad about it, because you ain't seen no skinny jeans and the man buns on top of the heads and guys with eyeliner. Yeah, not that one. You know the one I'm talking about. I'm talking about the the one that looks like your sister put it in there, not like what I'm talking about. And then like
Yeah.
what's this? The guys with the eyeliner, lip gloss, and their nails are did, and yet he still claims
He
that
ain't
he's
making
still
it
a
through the door at the
civilian in jail.
clubhouse.
Oh, and this is so like men are like watered down now. Like the civilian guy, somebody disrespects his woman out in the mall or something like that, and he's like he's gonna call security and he's got his lawyer on speed dial because he's gonna teach you a thing or two once you get those papers served. Amongst bikers, no, we have a more immediate answer for that kind of stuff. Not saying that you're going to get slapped in the mouth, but I'm not saying that you're going to get slapped in the mouth messing with a biker's old
Allegedly.
lady. Because and
Allegedly.
it's not all about being a caveman or any of that kind of stuff. It's just men are supposed to be men. All this, what's this stuff? They say toxic masculinity. Man, come on. Everything that a guy does is not toxic masculinity.
That's that Me Too
Sometimes men
movement.
are doing man shit, and just like women do women shit, and real women like men to do man shit, especially as it relates to them when you're treating your woman well and you love her and and you protect her and take care of her and all like that. That's man shit. That's what bikers do.
Skinny said,
Cigar
leave
Box
his
Skinny.
skinny jeans alone.
What? No, but I'm talking about them nut cutters. Them
Oh, yeah.
ones where you can't stand up, or you can't sit down in them. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Skinny says, "Hey, I have to leave. I have to leave 2 in the garage. I can't ride 3 at the same time." All right. And he said, "Show up at Incom meeting of the minds and Proc. You will find a place to get involved." Yes, sir. Look, there's plenty of stuff going on. And Skinny just rattled off 3 of them: Incom, meeting of the minds, the Proc. There's all kinds of good stuff going on. So if y'all want to find out more about any of the stuff going on, whether it's in your town or ours, we got the hook up for you. But
I'm kind of glad Skinny brought that up now that we getting towards the end of this and everything. And Incom just passed. A lot of people still want more information. I'll be at Meeting of the Minds in September. And before it is sold out, good God, if you want to go, get online like now. And I mean like right now. 6 months ago was too late for you. Proc tickets are hot as hell. You might not be able to get any, but if you haven't gotten them yet.
So at the COC meeting this morning, there was about 4 or 5 guys from a certain club was trying to get tickets to the Proc right then on the spot. And they were like, "Hey, this thing, what's going on?" Guess what? System crashed but it happens. I don't even mean that in a bad way. I mean, it's like every time they release a round of tickets, it's like a Taylor Swift concert. They're going to go really fast, which is why they release them, I think, in blocks of 1,000 at a time. Excuse me. I think they released the tickets in blocks of 1,000 at a time or something like that. But keep your eyes on you can Google Proc, PROC. It's the MC Professional Convention or the Proc. Get to the website, get you some tickets, and get the hotels. I mean, because they have a thing where you can get the tickets for the Proc and the hotel together. You want to do that soon though, because the resort is big, but inevitably they always sell out. Like every year, the host hotel for the Proc, like where the Proc is taking place, that place sells out no matter where it is every single year. But Skinny, I want to say it might have been the Proc this year. He got a hotel right across the street. So, so you can do stuff like that, but you'll have the information so you can move how you need to. Calvin said, "I remember after an Incom years back, most of the diamond clubs went to the strip club down the street together. It was an amazing time." Yeah. That kind of stuff still happens. And especially like at Incom Incom and the Proc, they've gotten much bigger. So a lot of times we're in like these big convention style hotels and stuff, and they always have like a really cool bar in the building. So you'll see guys hitting that thing, or a lot of times, yeah, they're going to slip out and go hit a strip club, and it might be 40, 50 so-and-so's, different patches, like people dust off them diamonds and peel back them ones and go get it in.
Or you got that bomb ass restaurant like we had across the street from Proc last year in New Orleans. Oh boy,
that was crazy. It's like everything in New Orleans, because that's what the Proc was in New Orleans, and it's crazy. Everything that you ate was better than the last thing that you ate,
Oh,
and the
yeah.
last thing
It
that you
was
ate was freaking
fucking
fantastic.
amazing.
It's like, it's like you can't get bad food in New Orleans. You probably could, but you'd have to try really hard. But anyway,
Crystals.
we've been at it for 55 minutes and 25 seconds, and look, and we got started a little bit later tonight because we was out doing biker shit. But we're gonna do this again in 7 days. We want y'all to come back. I'm glad as all get out that y'all took time out to ride through, to hang out with us tonight. But look, y'all hit us up, the text, emails, all of that. Let us know what, if anything, y'all want to talk about, or if there's something going on that we need to put the word out about. Let us know so we can get the word out and let folks know what time it is and everything like that. But we, like I said, we're gonna do it again in 7 days, so y'all don't be shy here. It's, I'm putting up some of the info as the credits roll at the end. I'll keep that running so you can get our contact information. I'll put Tate's up in a second, but in the meantime, man, hey, thank y'all for coming through with us tonight. Tate, what, if anything, you got to say to these nice folks?
We didn't push it as much as we normally do, but hit that like, that share, that subscribe button. Share this with somebody you don't know. Share it with somebody you do know. Share it with somebody that, hell, they're just thinking about getting a motorcycle. I mean, we're out here to grow this lifestyle that we live, no matter if they decide to join a club down the road or not. Maybe they just enjoy motorcycles, but that's what we're here for. So help us get the word out.
Right on. Yeah, so there's a lot of episodes that we've done over the past couple of 3 years. A lot of good information out there on all kinds of different subjects. This is a lighthearted episode tonight, but we've had some much more serious stuff. So find something that's interesting and share it with somebody. In the meantime, hey, peace out, y'all. Love and respect to all of y'all. And thanks for joining us here tonight on the Big BoneYard. We're going to see y'all in 7 days.
Welcome to the Big BoneYard. Enter at your own risk.
To pursue a career in law because it gives me an opportunity to help people. When a client chooses us to represent them, they're entrusting us with a huge responsibility. It's our goal to exceed their expectations with our personalized service and to help them to achieve the best possible recovery to compensate them for their injuries.
That's where we come in. We come in and we solve that problem for them and really set them on the right track in order to try and get back to what their life was like before the accident happened.